bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography, if not virology, through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons and critically fumble a lot. We are unfortunately still missing our little dwarven rogue because unfortunately player has been felled with atrocious lurgy, and we are not going to make him stay up until 1 in the morning when he has atrocious lurgy. So we will continue. Previously, uh, they saw off Molly, the half Eladrin, with uh, Rizwin, Froseth, and Nye, who Alice at least is deciding she's not calling Nye anymore. Do not using that name anymore. She has nicknamed him Aaron because she does not feel that it is healthy for him to have his entire identity revolved around lamentation. She doesn't like it, so she's not going to do it anymore. They went as sort of an honor guard to spend a few days helping her get settled and incidentally do some shopping. They're looking into a few more specialized bolts and some arrows if they can get them for Ava, some potions, that kind of thing. Meanwhile, the rest of them managed to cross into Cedar Grove, the barony. It looked pretty much right at the outset to be very well patrolled by Crownsguard, which fits quite well with the news that they'd had that martial law was basically in effect in Cedar Grove, the barony. They ran into an inn, which they had to stop in because the heavy snow had slowed them right up until they got up to the border. They had an interesting time at this woodcutter's inn with the dog pie and trying to deal with the Crown's Guard who kind of crashed the party after they found the innkeeper's food. Apparently he'd cooked a few of the woodcutter's dogs because there were some issues with supply, which they finally figured out was because Goldendale's having its issues, and that's where a lot of the produce comes from. And then there's Gray's Inn, which is where a lot of the meat comes from, which is currently being, as Hazel put it, sat on by an ancient white dragon. So that's going to cause some problems. It did also mean that they could not resupply, which they intended to do. So the few extra days they spent on the road ate into their supplies rather heavily. Alice and Ava would have been able to help with that. I mean, Alice's got survival, and Ava's a ranger, so hunting and foraging did manage to happen. But by the time they reached Suntree, sort of in the late afternoon-ish, um, stopping for supplies is not optional at this point. Meantime, Rizwin, Froseth, and Aaron were in the somewhat warmer havens of Egref, doing the shopping and, well, hopefully doing the shopping and helping little really excitable half Eldrin get settled, which it was kind of helpful in a way that one of the first people they saw when they came out of the teleportation circle after Froseth got summarily swarmed by little half-elf, little dragonborn, and hastily gathered a bowl of berries because that has to happen. Was they were met by Governor Calatiel themselves. I was given to understand from the missive that I received that there was going to be a new apprentice. So I came to say hello. The first one is just Meep. Okay, it appears that we have sent all the people who are a little bit not so much the speaking. Is fine. It's fine. Welcome back to my first city. I understand you have ways home. From around Froseth. Yes, sir.
Wow, he's being used as a hiding spot by a dwarf.
Well, what better?
He's in fact the tallest one there, yes.
And broadest, probably, as well.
Because
Elves are kind of lithe, so, you know.
willowy warlock.
Yeah, give it a strength score? Yeah, probably. Yes, well, I have taken the liberty of letting the Riddler Stump know that you're in town for a little while. And I will let you make your own arrangements for the returning. But for the time being, I came to formally offer an apprenticeship place for this young Molly thing within the government building. Because it would be funny. The streaks in her hair go this bright greenish yellow and just, yes, please. I have organizational ideas, lots of them. Well, I will let this fine gentleman and lady see you to accommodations. There is much in paperwork, I am afraid to have to tell you, but then hands a bundle of parchment to her. You will fill this out at your leisure, and I will see you bright and early in 3 days' time. This gives you plenty of time to settle yourself, I think. Have a lovely time, and off they bounce. And whereas poor Molly is sort of looking up and going, "Who was that?"
They run the place.
The place. I mean,
The governor?
oh,
Yeah.
neat. Okay. Wow, this is a lot of paper. We make some, but wow, this is a lot of paper. Okay. I guess let's go see where I'm sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah. Get you settled.
Yeah, there's a lot of squeaking and detours as looking in the windows. Look at the things they make.
Of the things we have set off today.
But yeah, you eventually get her settled in a kind of a dorm place and spend the next few days alternating between bits of shopping. You were basically asked for one greater healing potion each, and like a few regulars for, or just in case scenario. Some more psi bolts. I think it was mainly for Hazel, and any specialty arrows you might be able to find for Ava, which means going back to Belladonna. And Rizwin is I didn't even know this was here. I spent 5 years here and I didn't even know this was here. Wow. But for you're looking at about 15 gold for everything. That's 5 lightning arrows for Ava, 3 psi bolts for Hazel, and the entire complement of potions.
Okay. Let me actually write this down for once. So
what a world Elan is with potions at this much of a drop in price. They must churn them out like mad.
Well, for one thing, it's a fucking egg ref.
Yeah.
Egref and Bellerace, yeah, they are making them in some interesting methods.
I think the one way to probably master it.
I think I'm not sure whose headphones those are. I think it might be Marion's.
Yeah, I think there's a sort of tactile thing on my mic that I hadn't realised was there. So
It's probably a frayed wire somewhere inside the rubber casing. It happens a lot particularly with the cheap ones. And I only know this because one of my exes was very big on tech, basically fixing anything he conceivably could. I mean, he spent more money on repairing a set of headphones that lasted for less time than would have been if I just replaced the fucking things. But he wanted to prove he could do it, so I had the most ugly set of freaking headphones. They worked for a while, but,
And it inevitably shorted out again.
they will always do that because they're always moving around. And sometimes when just a few of the very thin copper filaments fray, it'll still work, but some of that won't conduct until they brush up against their original connectors.
Feedback for days.
At the very least, having Lewis having done that tells me exactly why my headphones always went to shit. Not anything I could do anything about. Anyway, so yes, basically you guys have been waiting for the sending stone call. Rizwin handed the sending stone back to Furseth for the nonce mostly because I'm gonna keep seeing to young Molly for a little bit more. She's a little excitable, and she probably needs a bit more of a guide to the city than the list you so kindly provided for her. Because if she does that, she'll never get to work on time. Never mind to classes.
That's fair.
I may linger a little while. I can impose on my friend a little bit longer. Thank you. But yes, eventually, several days pass, but Polly at the Riddler stump is quite happy to see you, as are all the cats. And besides, Rizwin has a few other things to close up on her own account, so there's a fair bit she has to be doing. But eventually, criminy, a good week at this point, given the tromp through the snow and the extra time that took. Who's making the call?
Click, click, ding.
Yeah. So first, I think it's. I know how cell phone this sounds, and I'm really terribly sorry, but the pocket vibrates and warms up a little bit. Somebody's trying to get in touch with you. There's only one other person.
Yeah. Pulls out the stone. Hello?
We have arrived!
Well, you've arrived on the edge of town. You haven't actually gone in yet, but you can see the mighty tree that gave Suntree its name, and some little buildings, snow-topped with smoke coming out of the chimneys. But
Kinda. We can see the tree. Hopefully, we'll be in soon.
Okay.
yeah, I haven't used the word limit on this particular thing. You may have noticed, mostly because I don't trust any of you dog fuckers. Okay.
Oh, I'm going to die. I am going to die from laughter.
That's a Warren Ellis. That's nothing to do with me beyond the fact that I like using it now and then. Anyway, yes. So.
Give us an hour.
It'll take you that long to get your tree port anyway, so it doesn't matter. She's actually done something sensible, even if she didn't mean to.
Isn't that usually how it happens?
No, she's been actually sensible a few times. Like, really. Yeah,
See
Alisay's
you
just sort of
soon.
leaning towards the back of the car, watching this. So yeah,
With-
is that you ending your
Yep.
sending call? Okay.
Yep.
So
Okay.
Froseth. we'll start in Egref for now, anyway.
Okay, so
By this point, you probably found some place for food. I mean, take your pick. You've got so many places.
A literal laundry list.
Mhm. And Richmond looking up, going, "Everything all right?"
yeah, they are within sight of Suntree. Basically giving us said give them an hour, which is probably about as much time as we'll need to.
Oh, more than likely, because honestly, my friend is likely to be a little bit upset that I pulled him away from his dinner, but that does also give me time to think something Hazel will appreciate. Poodles down the street to Hot Pot and gets a dish of some of the really spicy stuff that Hazel likes. And Poodles on back with basically a takeaway container. Just,
Hmm.
I think she'll approve. Gives it
I
to
think
Frozen.
so.
And right, onward to Druidcraft. I have people to pry away from their dinners. Oh dear. And Nirm. Okay, yeah. The summary that happens, it's basically Furseth is the only one of you two that understands Dwarven, so you do get the full extent of the "could you not do this in another couple of hours?" No, because they're supposed to be meeting my sister. You don't have any siblings. I don't mean the dwarves, I mean the other ones. What other ones? You know about the other ones. I've told you about the other ones. I've shown you letters. And going on like that for giving person the look of the "see what I mean about this is going to take a while." And then finally again in Dwarven, "Look, if you just done it when I'd asked you to, you'd be back to your dinner by now." And eventually does open a door to the appropriate tree. Meantime, just to see what they're heading into, yeah, you see the town. It looks pretty quiet from what little you can see from your current spot. I mean, to be fair, Ava knows about the smaller towns in and around Cedar Grove. This isn't her part of the barony exactly. Hers was closer in towards Star Coast, but because it's largely a logging concern, Cedar Grove as a barony, apart from the larger cities, the smaller townships are mostly the people who work there, and a few houses along the outskirts for the children, the women who aren't logging because they're taking care of children, and the elderly who have retired. So there's not a lot of action compared to some of the places you were seeing in frickin' Equitas. So yeah, you still got Darvin eyeing it and kind of like, and everybody else just kind of lives in the forest unless they've got some of the loggers will come in, but they've got more wagons that they live in, kind of like Dragon Age's Aravels. So
Darwin's just looking around, just like, I've never been at any place quite so quiet.
no, Goldendale seemed pretty damn quiet to me.
No, this is a different quiet.
Hopefully it stays quiet.
Agreed.
I'm
sorry, but is he being paranoid for nothing? Just so I know.
I mean, remember what we saw on the road?
Yeah,
Paranoid might be sort of flavor of the day for the next month.
garden, such like that.
Fuck them. Not literally.
Okay, thank you.
That would be a poor choice.
I made the best choice.
You did. You really, really did. Including hanging me from the thing. Thank you.
Pat.
I can't wait to you and Jenna could have some talks.
Probably, yeah. Once we actually aren't dealing with the whole place being under siege. I think she probably needs to focus on that, and I need to focus on apparently helping murder draconic assholes. Anyway, I guess we're meeting them in town. Let's hope that we're not gonna freak anybody out as we have people spitting out of a tree.
And not just any tree, but the tree.
Yeah, but at the same time, I kind of wonder how faithful the Crown's Guard are feeling. For the standard gods of this country, anyway.
Ah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, what are the odds that there's going to be some kind of nudging in the direction of inverse logic draconic gods? They haven't done it in Golden Dale yet, but they've got a pretty massive shrine and several reasons not to. But let's deal with one thing at a time, and that's trying to provide some cover for when these guys come lolloping out of a tree. Yeah.
I guess we set up our entertainment, I guess, in front of them.
Weren't we not doing that because entertainers are kind of verboten?
Yeah,
Sorry,
we did.
Yeah, they did
change
mention
that.
that.
Dwarven word for forbidden.
They mentioned they
That it would probably be a bad idea to be magical here.
Let's just hope we pick the right side of the tree that they're coming out of, because that's the other problem. We don't know. Trees go all the way around. We don't know which end they're going to come out of.
Plus, none of us are really all that familiar with druidic magic.
Nope.
I'm kind of
the only one who.
I kind of hope.
And it would look a little weird if we all circled around it as well.
I don't know. We could be really keen botanists.
I mean, we got two people who'd be really convincing when they say that.
I guess.
You and Darvin. You've convinced people of some pretty crazy stuff already. Multiple times, each of you. Honestly, I kind of wish Clarity were here because I remember the stunt she pulled.
Yes, I've heard that story. That was a good story. I like that story. That's kind of why I did what I did in the inn. Just, I'd already done one stupid fucking accent and I wasn't doing another one. Anyway, yes, long story short, they do clatter into Suntree. You're sort of coming in from that side. And yeah, what you're basically seeing is a shrine here, an inn kind of down there, and interspersed are a few shops, a few stalls. The stalls are closed up because it's getting late and getting cold, and a whole bunch of covered wagons that look almost like very small cottages on wheels, lumped around a fireplace over there. There's some dwellings dotted around the outside, but for the most part, that's town. You've got your shrine, you've got your inn, you've got a few shops, you've got a few houses, and you've got what sounds like carousing woodsmen.
I should probably have a look at the shrine, and I kind of want to see what's up over there with the houses.
Wow.
Wheels.
I mean, I knew it was a big tree, but...
Yeah, the tree is a good 8 feet in diameter, the trunk. And it goes up significantly up. Of course, at the moment, it's all bare branches, and
Mm.
there are a few benches dotted around one side of it, which seems to be private meditation or just places to sit and eat things from the stalls. You don't know. You just know that those appear to be benches.
I'm gonna walk up to the tree and because I'm legit not. I'm not faking the. Holy crap! Jeez, like the fascination, just like walking around the tree, just gopping.
Alice is not impressed. I've seen some trees that you could legitimately cut a hole in and drive a wagon through.
Of that, I have no doubt. I have not. So,
Yes.
pardon me.
No, go by all means. I'm just kind of apologizing for my own lack of wonder.
I've got enough wonder for both of us.
I'm just imagining that the kids would be all like
Oh my god.
thrilled to climb it.
Same. I have this unending urge to go try doing that, but
Do
probably a
not-
bad idea right now.
No,
I have
yes,
better
Hazel.
ideas. Are you
Let's
listening to
avoid
me or
that.
not? I just said it was a bad idea.
Just
Actually,
reinforcing the point.
Actually, to be fair, I think it's a fantastic idea to distract anybody from people coming out of it.
Fair point.
And then hold your feet up in a basket for Hazel and go. Need a boost?
Wouldn't
Hit
that
me,
draw
I
more
guess.
attention to the tree though?
And yeah, but more up the tree.
Oh.
And then we can be yelling at her
Oh.
to come down when things happen.
Mm,
And so
I
yeah,
guess.
she makes a step for Hazel, and if Hazel actually steps into it, Hazel gets barbarian yeet.
Oh dear.
Fling! What?
Yeah, she does go up a good 7
shit.
feet and manages to grab a hold of a branch. Because it really is. It's barbarian. It's just whoop!
Shoot, and I'm going to continue attempting to go up
Athletics check.
until I find a branch stable enough.
Oh, stable. Oh, hang on. Before you make that roll, just let me clear the chat log. Thank you. There we go. Go forth.
Athletics.
Whoa,
Nope.
No.
And that one.
You. How good is Alice?
Oh dear.
Yeah, you put your weight on the wrong branch pretty much straight away. Branch snaps. You go plummeting 7 feet and straight into Alice's arms. Poof!
Shit! I kind of love you right now.
And then yeet again. Athletics check.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Nat 20 this time.
Oh dear God.
This time you use the momentum to be clambering up the tree, so you're probably about 20 feet up and climbing, and there's still no end to stable branches.
Okay, I think I can start at about here. And if I need to, I'm trying to judge if could I make it to the roof of a house if I did a running leap with the boots?
Wow.
Like, I'm trying to judge if I can do that for when things get inevitably hairy.
You'll have to see when things get inevitably hairy.
Huh.
Okay, so at around about this point, while these guys are watching for Hazel, a door sort of a little ways to Ava's right. It's kind of like there's now a hole in the tree, and out come Aaron and Furseth.
I'm just waving up at Hazel.
And they're
Don't
all
look
gathered.
back!
They're all gathered at the base of the tree, and there's Hazel making that noise
Why is Hazel in a tree?
because she's a suitable distraction. Also, I think she's been eyeing the roofs.
I can't argue with that.
And I've gone around the tree along the stable branches again.
So yeah, welcome to Suntree. A couple of these guys have accidentally eaten dog. How has your week been?
Well, I was about to say something, just been more familiar with trees than I ever thought I would actually be, but I think that one trumps mine.
Yeah, apparently they're not really big on entertainers. Their supply lines are kind of fucked, and nobody has come out to ask why Hazel is in the middle of their big ash tree.
No. Do
Is a
we
good
see
point.
sign of any movement inside the houses? or anything?
Perception check. Because you're
Too
not.
busy looking at. Too busy waving up at Hazel.
Perception.
Okay.
On your list.
Alice A is too busy trying to make sure she's under Hazel. Yeah, no, it's the windows are a little bit too fogged up and things to really notice anything. I mean, there are some lights on, especially in the inn, but
Huh.
Okay, now how does she get down?
Does anyone have featherfall?
I'm going to
Flynn
stop.
looks at her. You know what? If we want attention from the populace, fuck it. And does the tattoo wings.
Oh dear.
Come on, Hazel, we're about done with this. And it's floating up to.
Well, I guess that bunks my idea of using the boots to go over there. I'm pointing at a nearby roof.
Hazel, you would break your everything. Now it turns around. Get on.
Latch.
And down she goes.
That works too.
Well,
To the inn then?
round again. You guys can go to the inn. I've got something to check out over there, and I'm pointing at the shrine.
Can we maybe not split up?
I would agree.
Fair
I would
point.
agree.
Okay, in first.
Thank you. Which means I'm going in with these. Okay.
Oh yes, good point.
Works for me, I guess.
I maybe I should have used the 1 minute ones, but those let me do extra damage as well. So if anything goes to hell, I'd like to keep those in reserve.
Emergency.
Yeah.
Works.
So yeah, they walk into the inn, which has a sign which appears to be newly painted. It is simply called the Beacon.
Gonna see it.
I'm pretty sure Darvin, Froseth, and Hazel know exactly why. As in Paylors. She did
Oh
get the
boy.
letter. So apparently the letters arrived.
Ooh, Darwin just
Door
a bit
open,
pale. Goes
and
a slight
I'm going
bit pale.
Going to go to make my way inside.
And inside there's not a huge crowd. There's a couple of individuals who look a bit more shopkeepy than anything else. A few in the corner who are apparently more waiting for something to take away than anything else. And behind the bar, a rather strapping blonde lad with bright green eyes and looks up at you. Double takes at Alice, eh? Some recognition crosses his face from apparently descriptions when he sees Froseth. And he's probably actually met Hazel because they did pass through the general area on their way down from Mount Paylor.
Uh-oh.
This would be David. David Bailey, Nora's brother.
Uh-oh.
What are you
What?
uh-ohing for? Get over here!
I'm gonna stump on over.
Welcome back? Why are you so panicked?
It's been a stressful week.
If you're worried about what my reaction's going to be to what happened to my sister, don't. Ever since she started on the path of Paladin, I knew I was going to outlive her. I didn't think it'd be this soon.
Hmm.
But it's not really something I can blame you for. Just be glad Mum and Dad aren't here.
Ugh.
Mum wants to, Dad wants to know where you were. Mum wants to know where, glances around and looks at Darvin, he was. But they're cleric and bard respectively, so I had to keep telling him, you're novices, or you were at the time. Figure you've had some time to beef up since then.
Yeah.
And you've probably heard this from a couple of places along your travels, but I don't really think you want to be here. Or
We got that.
anywhere in Baronsvere at all.
Yeah,
We're both still
Also, why
here.
does she have wings?
Oh, it's a tattoo.
That's a tattoo.
Long story.
That's a tattoo that gets that's more than a little magic.
At which point Alisei just sort of sighs and goes, guys, also there's the hair. Leva simply say that the tattoo gives a flight spell and the equivalent of what I can also do in emergencies, just for less time. It's a long story, but to sum it up, I'm a teeny bit celestial. Can we move on? Yeah, okay. Anyway, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, we kind of got that from one of the inns further back out towards the border. There were also Crown's Guard. How many are in the area here?
It's not like I take time to count, but they stop in most nights.
Blech.
Great. Basically, we're on our way as quickly as we can to the Elven Wild.
What the fuck would you want to go there for?
Help.
Hopefully to raise an army.
I'd be asking the rocks for help. They'd probably actually answer.
We're not, well,
We've got
I
a
mean,
few things that might push an answer out of the pointy-eared twits.
Think that's gonna help, Hazel.
I don't think I want to know.
no.
I have decided I do not want to know.
Yeah.
So what?
How are, I can't, I'm sure
They weren't named.
they weren't. Okay. So how are, Nora's, your parents, how are they?
Grieving. Angry. Not here. They went on pilgrimage to Mount Palor with Nora's Warhammer.
Okay. I just want to make sure they were all right, physically at least.
As far as I can tell, but obviously it's a bit of a trek up there, so
Right.
I'm not expecting to see him back for a while, and if Mum's smart, she's going to keep Dad well away from here while this shit's going on.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that she can talk some people into finding Dad something to do at Mount Palor rather than come back here and try get his full self killed too.
Yeah, that was part of why I was asking. That's part of why we're trying to go to the Elven Wild to get help to resolve all this.
Yeah, that kind of goes in hand with raising an army.
Yeah. Like you said, you don't want to know, so I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, let's not say that too loudly.
It looks around it like, okay, how many of you grew up in small towns? Any of you know how gossip happens?
Very, very quickly.
Points at the shopkeep-looking types, points at the woodcutters. And you guys have no concept of an inside voice.
No, we do not.
So anyway, long story short, we stopped. We need to resupplying is not optional, and we will continue on our way quickly.
Right. Okay. I think just about everything is closed at the moment.
Yeah.
I can offer a few things, but if you want a proper resupply, you're gonna have to wait till morning.
That'll do.
Well,
Yeah, what Remy said.
Because I don't think you want people special opening for you if any Crown's Guard are coming by.
no.
Yeah, let's just find ourselves somewhere to be stashed and get out of the way and not draw you any more attention than we need to.
Well, you're gonna have to talk to me anyway because I happen to run this bitch. So,
Yeah, I figured that was going to be what.
do
That's the reason.
you want food and rooms or just food?
Food and rooms, please.
Okay, how many rooms? We're pretty opened up. All the loggers are in the little encampment up sort of north end of town.
Good to know. Thanks. Houses on wheels. Wow.
Well, they spend more time out there cutting logs than they do around here, but sometimes, like with you, resupply's not optional.
Yep.
Sorry, you're waving your hand around.
Sorry, I was counting. I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, at which point, kind of a woman who's even shorter than Remy, probably twice Remy's age, and kind of round, um, poodles on past the bar with a couple of fairly large covered buckets, which smell rather nicely of some kind of stew, which she puts on the logger's table, accepts some handfuls of coin, and everybody goes their separate ways. We provide some bits and pieces. And for them it's just stew, something simple. And to be fair, it's much the same thing here for regular guests tonight, but we've been having some supply issues.
Yeesh. I think I have a guess as to why.
Look, we don't get that much news around here, so we're just leaving it at what little comes in is probably going to the bigger cities and Milady's bloody manor to start with. I have no idea what the fuck happened there. I gotta tell you.
Well, look. There's the.
Alice puts a hand on Hazel's shoulder. You know, before you start talking about things, maybe we could get the lay of the land in the barony we don't know.
That's what I was gonna ask about, actually.
Yeah, you were sounding less like you were going to ask something and more like you were going to dig yourself a hole by trying to justify when you didn't even know you had to.
Uh-huh.
And looks up at him, shrugs shoulders, wings go up as well. Sorry. Yeah, that's still gonna freak me out. Can somebody actually ask a question?
Guy, and I'm just turning to the rest of them. I'm out of questions. You guys go.
Well, for one, how many rooms do we need? Alice, I'm assuming you and Remy have. Well, that's one. Hazel, do the
I
rest
can
of us
share
want
with
individual
Hazel.
rooms, or do we want to? I don't
Well,
care.
isn't it usually that Hazel and well,
Ava.
yeah, and he looks okay.
I'm fine either way.
The David kind of looks. That's an inauspicious name in some circles. Alice is just giving Darvin a look like, points at Ava with a "we'll talk later" expression on her face. And then usually we just kind of cram Froseth, Darvin, and Aaron in a room together. As long as the room in which these guys are in have got a fairly comfy chair, they're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Aaron here is thankfully in far less need of flop over, crash out sleep than the rest of us.
David is just. We live adjacent to the Elven Wild. I know how elves work.
Yeah, well, I'm a little jealous of that fact specifically.
Weren't you grumbling about?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
It's
Anyway.
complicated.
And stew ale.
Yes,
Stew.
please.
Yes.
Looking at Alice thinking, can you sit with those? They've been put. She actually puts a hand through. They're not. They're a light show. Okay. I guess they save on candles for a while. I don't know. Just take a seat and we'll bring something out to you. We'll discuss prices when you're finished with that. I'll bring your ale over. Take a seat.
Thank you. Seriously, many thank
And
yous.
Alice just sort of turns around and nudges her toward the
Complete.
Okay, once they sit down, okay, we're gonna need a new name for you as well.
Oh yeah.
That look was he didn't know the lady well enough to be able to think, gee, they look fairly similar. But we can't count on that. That's why I was trying to avoid using her name. If I hesitate on the name of, like,
Okay.
I was actually going to say something really nice, but fine.
I'm just gonna ooze into my seat and almost face plant.
So anything you particularly want to be called? We can't hear you. We're hearing click noises.
You hear me now?
Ah, yes.
Yes.
We can.
Probably wasn't loud enough. Well, I was thinking of one of my middle names, but that's probably not a good idea either.
Better in the countryside, probably still won't work around nobility.
Hmm.
I'm just running the gamut through the various Sylvan words I know.
Nothing comes to mind.
And from my somewhat muffled state, gonna just blurt the Sylvan word for bowstring.
The little bit difficult for a lot of people to pronounce. I was gonna call you Rika. It's kind of a northern word. Nobody here is really gonna know what it means, and it's kind of pretty. It kind of translates to pack sister. And we're still not hearing you.
And you went mute again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a frayed cord cutting out. And we
Nope.
still can't hear you.
And you got lost again the minute you let go of the thing.
Nope.
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 Nope. Nope. Mm-mm.
It clearly needs to be held in a very specific position. Ow.
Ooh.
That hurts. My ears.
I'm still coming down from migraine.
Oh boy.
Sorry.
Just detach the headset for now.
That's, I think, what she was doing.
That stupid thing.
I think it's.
Yes.
I think.
Okay.
Yes, so Alice has just suggested Rika and said what it means.
Rika? Is it?
Yep.
That works. Easy to remember.
I mean, that one at least can be only for company. I don't want to take your name is clearly important to you, and enough people have been taking it away already. But probably best not to announce that until
So
Well,
we're
plus
less up to our eyeballs and potential hiccup.
there's some specific people we do not want. I really want to know.
yeah,
Really?
particularly if the Crown's Guard turn up here
Yeah.
to probably as much to tap into the gossip as anything else. Every town's got its informers when things go bad. I've heard enough stories to know that.
I have a few personal recollections of people who I still owe ear removal.
We'll find Felicia at some point.
Can we just focus on the big picture here?
Focusing on it, just making side commentary to keep selves from saying further dumb.
So, Elven Wild. But, where do we go after that?
Well, I kind of figured that, I mean, Goldendale's the spot that's fighting right now, but the problem becomes getting an army of elves through freaking Cedar Grove to get there.
Without it being noticed, which is probably impossible.
Well, that depends on what kind of magics they have.
True.
Because right now, while Cedar Grove is obviously having some issues, it's not having immediately fatal issues. And, you know, if they can join their strength to what, you know, the halflings from the hearth and whoever, basically the Goldendale clerics, they stand a better chance of being able to do something here. Depending on whether or not we go from here to, you know, we basically have two options. We can try to liberate Cedar Grove, which will mean coming into contact with the lady, which is going to aggravate the living hell out of His Majesty.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of people he could take that out on. And he can probably do a lot more damage than the lady could. Just by dint of position, never mind everything else.
Uh-huh.
That's a good
So
point.
what about Cragveer? Would that be an option? Because if Elven Wild can just bypass here and go straight to reinforcing, then we could just go try and collect another group.
I'm trying to remember, wasn't there something about because Cragveer is underground and some of that black shit was underground that they might be having their own problems and we might be basically cracking the seal on an egg of suck? If we approach Cragveer.
Boy.
Certainly one more factor to deal with, yeah.
Sorry, it kind of looked like Froseth wanted to weigh in on something there, but I'm not entirely sure. He's just sort of...
No, just agreeing.
Yeah, I imagine Froseth probably doesn't want to think about that too hard because his monastery was awfully close to... Which is something else we need to deal with, obviously, but we really have to do one thing at a time, and we don't know for sure yet.
Yep.
This is the stuff we know for sure about. We know about the lady, we know about His Majesty, we know about what's sitting on Gray's Inn, and we know about the situation in Goldendale.
We also kind of know about another instance of the Goldendale debacle just in Elvenwild. Remember a certain green
Ah,
toxic barrel of nonsense that may or may not have parentage living in the area?
right.
Yeah, but that's a may or may not. We can't focus on the may or may nots when there's so many definites in front of us, Hazel.
Oh,
When
yeah.
when it becomes a definite, then we'll do what we can about it. But for right now, we can only really focus on what we know.
You can only handle so much at the same time.
It
I
sounds
bring it
like.
up as some.
Sorry, go ahead, Hazel.
No. Mine's an aside. Keep going.
Okay. Well, if things turn out, actually, you know what? No, when things turn out in our favor in the Elven Wild, because I can't assume they're not going to right now. Cross that bridge when we get to it. But they fortify Goldendale and help open the way for us. My quandary was pretty much exactly what you laid out. You know, do we go for another area, or do we go straight for the crown? You know, the crown, or like the advantage of going to another area is again more people potentially that we could fortify with, but at the same time, the effort it takes to do that, and then the repercussions of doing so might outweigh the effort. So that's why I'm sort of like, I don't know exactly what we should do, and
I'm
I'm kind of going around in circles.
I'm going to be entirely blunt. What good is freeing Goldendale and then coming down to Cedar Grove to free it, and then coming back and finding out that His Majesty has turned Goldendale into an acidic wasteland?
Yeah,
that was pretty much where I was heading, I think.
He's behind all of this. We need to do whatever draws him out.
Cut the head
but
off.
if we draw him out directly on top of us, that's still not exactly a good plan because he outweighs us by the weight of an entire barony, an entire country, and an entire several other things.
Well,
so did the other. Okay, granted, that was an adult, not an ancient, but
yeah, that also
that too.
outweighed us by an order of magnitude.
We're stronger than we look, dude.
And we're stronger than we were when we faced that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got more people.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, while she's still seeing to things, apparently, we've got your sister, and she is the one that got the kill shot on that ice drake. Don't discount her.
I'm not. I'm just still worried because of the sheer amount of nonsense involving Black Crown.
There's a lot to do with Black Crown, but consider this. We liberate Goldendale. We have the assumed Elvenwild army. We have the Hearth. We have the clerics. And they can probably deal with whatever Black Crown forces are actually holding Black Crown. Because if they're scattered all over the freaking country, a lot of them are not going to be centered on...
Yes, this is exactly what I meant by opening the way for us. That's exactly what I meant.
Yeah, sometimes with Hazel you have to use more words.
Fair. And here I was trying to not be quite so verbose.
Or a different explanation than the one that you think is obvious.
Sorry,
Hazel. Hit me straight out of the gate.
So
sorry, Hazel.
You're the tactician. You're the sellsword. You've actually done military shit. What do you think?
I think you're right that my biggest problem is we reinforce one place. You can't reinforce that much against a dragon. But drawing him out into the field is a problem of its own if he has an army behind them. But he can't enforce his will across the entire kingdom and also bring the entire crown squad behind him if he feels threatened by, say, an army coming out of the Elven Wilds. So
Okay.
his attention and his forces are going to be split.
Okay, here's another thing, which we maybe should have thought of at the time, but Rika, you're the Vanadar Treasury. Not doing too badly, I take it.
As far as I know.
Yeah, for the record, you were middling on the wealth side. I mean, you obviously weren't one of the more powerful ones, but you had some pretty good land, and while your taxes were fair, there was enough coming in to keep you guys moderately wealthy on the scale of lords and ladies of Cedar Grove. So, correct me if I'm wrong here, Ree, but one of the big things that Governor Fortinbras has with basically his whole country is putting together armies for a fairly nominal fee for places that can't defend themselves. They can't send an army without a promise of pay, because that's not how diplomacy works. But if a noble of the country, maybe two, if we can talk to Baron Langerham, and put together enough to get a second front opened up with Belarus mercenary companies.
God's above.
We can very much open up a way to that dragon and end him once and for all.
If we
Yeah,
can come up that kind of money, we absolutely could.
We can't, but we have nobility on our side. Let's remember that.
Yeah, we do have someone awfully sparkly sitting right in the middle.
Yeah, in her case, it's going to have to be a promise rendered, because they need to actually get her throne back.
But at the very least, we have a plan now.
And also correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the rightful king of all Baronsphere currently sits in Goldendale?
Yeah, he's recovering.
Where does his heir sit?
Oh man, you're right. Oh wow, that's gonna be a thing. So we can leverage that.
We can. I can get a message to the Tipsy Pixie. I was saving it for a rainy day, but snow will do. If we can get her together with Rizwin, we can start putting this together.
Oh, thank the gods we have a plan. I was wondering if we were going to be flapping in the wind after Elven Wild things happened.
No, I'd been thinking about this for minutes on the trip through Cedar Grove. I just didn't have a chance to voice it.
And you and Alice putting your heads together helped.
I have very good reason to be very, very fond of the mercenary companies of Belarus, and no, not just you.
And thus, you become more adorable every day.
Ah, shut it, you. That's
don't make me turn this. Don't make me turn this in around and go home.
That's the opposite of shutting it. And besides, you are so not my type.
Didn't know Hazel could turn that many shades.
I'm trying to not start cackling, so I've turned purple and green and 4 other colors.
Oh, for fuck's sake, just laugh.
Boom! Straight out of the chair.
Oh, Hazel.
Well, I mean, look at Kizzy. I'm clearly not her type either.
Yeah, just rolling on the floor, giggling like a lunatic right now.
At which point, David comes with a flagon of ale and some mugs and going, maybe she shouldn't have any.
Food for thought.
Woo! I'm okay! Slowly dragging myself back into the chair.
Uh, I'm sorry. I'd say she was raised by wolves, but the Hearths don't deserve that.
And the cackling begins again, and I kind of fall back down.
No, she and David just takes her mug away. She was
Yeah,
up in
thank
a
you.
couple of minutes. Okay, so we have a plan. We will. And does anybody have anything to add to it? I
Not
feel
to the
like
plan specifically, but I should probably pass out the stuff we got before I forget about it.
Thank you. Okay, good. Yes, I will not be dominating this entire conversation. I can sit down and have some ale. Thank you. Pour. Swig. Look,
So pass out.
I had to play bar wench for these people, okay? Present company accepted. Looking at Remy, I will be your bar wench anytime.
I finally
Remy
managed to stop giggling for a
takes a
second,
very
pause
long
up and
drink.
go, oh my!
And it just sort of shoves her back down.
What?
Darwin was the one that was just going.
Hey, she knows what she said.
Yep, and that's why I didn't say it.
So anyway, sorry.
Okay, so bundle of stuff for Ava and Hazel. Each had specific things. Then there's the healing potions, because I'm not holding on to all of them. They should be spread out.
And as you then you do also remember the care package from Rizwin. The stuff from Hot Pots.
Oh yes. Put that in front of Hazel.
And even through the mostly sealed packaging, you can smell the spicy.
Oh, that smells strong.
Hey, Aaron. Aaron, take a whiff. And I'm just going to hold it vaguely in his direction, just tilt it slightly.
Hazel.
I'm going to mute myself because you don't need to hear me rolling this bastard.
Fair.
Sniff!
Yeah, this was the fire plane version. I'd say you knew better, but it's you.
Ah!
I didn't get
That's
how many
the
which
most
type
clear
of
my
potions.
sinuses have ever been.
Okay. Since I just about heard that, so basically, the party is 8 strong. So
Yep.
eight greater, and let me just decide exactly how many regulars you managed to get hold of. 4.
4 normal. Okay. So 8 greater. 1 for each of us probably seems good.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's what was asked for, if
Um,
memory serves me correctly.
So we've got 4 normal ones.
I've still got 2 normal.
Probably
So
for those of us who are up in things' faces.
And just
So-
holds up my hand.
Alice
Put-
A.
2 on LSA and 2 on
Remy.
Remy.
Okay, so she's getting
And
2.
then
Me.
Froseth, yeah, hang
Yeah,
on.
Froseth gets.
Well, why don't we let Froseth have the 2 that Hazel's holding on to?
Uh-huh,
Because
that's what I was
Hazel-
about to
I
extract.
figured, but you were doing that thing where words came out, but they weren't coming out in the right order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
So I
I
thought I'd shortcut the process.
Thank you.
and I
Yeah,
only
Frost, that's 2 for you.
and I only occasionally get up close and personal with things. So
And
Yeah,
see, that's the thing. I've got a couple of middling ways of healing people. Apparently I can sing healing now. That's fun. And my healing hands thing gets stronger as I don't even know if it's I get older or just figure out more of what I am. I don't know. But every so often I just seem to be able to do more with the wound closing, but it's still not a lot.
Remy's also got some.
Yep.
And Rika's got some.
But it's in not but we're talking about the people, Hazel, we're talking about the people who are in. So if you get in and you get hit really hard, one of us can pick you up enough to get yourself back and get healed properly. So that saves Hazel having to nip in and out of a fight situation. I mean that's basically what my little bits of healing are for. I can eke it out and get people peeled off the floor enough to either, get out of harm's way, get a potion down them, or both.
So we're sort of developing a web of if one person goes down, at least somebody will be there to get us back up. I like where this is going.
Yeah, and I think I might be a little hardier
We're more helpful in that regard.
now in certain moments.
But we'll figure that out later. For now, okay, potions have been distributed.
Alice is looking at him. I don't think it's hardier. I just think it's luckier.
Yeah, more that. That's more the word.
Something beyond the power of music is smiling down upon you, sir.
Yes.
And
Look,
okay,
you're
so
a performer. You should like the idea of, something looking at you and smiling.
This is true. This is very true. This is very true.
Effectively a giant spotlight.
She's right.
All right.
It's a spotlight.
That works.
The only reason I'm saying this is that you probably don't want to grumble at your god.
Oh.
You've been doing that a couple of times, and I thought maybe
and
I
I'm
might
still
want
not.
to step in.
Yeah, I'm still not used to all this.
Yeah, I know, but keep in mind we've already got one that might is walking a really fine line.
I'm just gonna inwardly go sorry and leave it at that.
Anyway, what about the other things? How many bolts did we get? How many arrows? How many shiny, sparkly, pointy bits? For those of us who need them.
To remind, I know you wrote it down, but I actually remember it was 5 lightning arrows for Ava and 3 psychic bolts for Hazel.
Yes.
Yay.
So 3 psychic bolts for you, Hazel. And pausing on the new name because I can't remember it.
Rika.
Rika. 5 lightning arrows for you.
Incidentally, Marion, it might amuse you to know that the pronunciation of that, if not necessarily the spelling, was taken from Sam Riegel's character in Pillars of Eternity 2: Deadfire. So there you go.
Welcome to being our new Sam.
I think the stupid part is I think I'm becoming closer to being your new Sam.
Exactly what I was leading into. I wanted to set that off.
Anyway, I think I'm a little. I think I take it in different directions just because there's. I think it's the salt.
It is the salt
that sets me apart from Sam, so I'll live with that. Thank you. Anyway, yes. So and eventually David comes back with bowls of stew and is looking at Hazel and going, "Are you ready to stay in your chair? Can I bring you a mug now?"
Yes, please.
Okay, but puts the stew down in front first and.
Praise the power of food.
Yeah, sorry about the bread rolls. Apparently there was supposed to be a shipment of flour coming in our general direction, but, again, I have a feeling that went, local lords, that kind of thing.
Mm.
Potters off, comes back, brings Hazel a mug, and goes from there.
I'm going to further examine the care package of spicy death.
The care package of spicy death is one of the fire plane Alzor High curries. And Alice just takes the plate away and sort of shares half of it with Remy. Takes the other half. You have that.
Yeah, I'm all but face down in this stuff now.
Okay then, that's
my food sorted.
yeah. Which is why Alice was like half for me, half for Remy.
I want him to look like he's not appreciating that, or
David catches Ava's look and just goes, "Look, as long as she eats it, so nobody else in this place has to smell it, I don't care."
Yeah, so with it open, the smell's probably starting to waft a little, and
And Alice is like, "We're paying for the plate anyway, so." It's like, yeah, see? I don't care.
God, that smells strong.
this stuff is amazing. I can't entirely film a fish.
Because you've
But-
shoveled it quickly.
But, hey, walls and proper beds tonight. Bunk beds are kind of fine, but eh.
Hey, Rika, want to try some?
Thanks, but no.
I don't.
Alice just sort of sticks her spoon in and. Yeah, it's just a pretty good batch.
Happy bouncing and continuing to basically be all but face down in spicy doom.
And in the middle of Hazel's spicy doom and basic, just sitting down and having the usual banter over a meal, the door opens quite forcefully, in point of fact. The sort of a gust of snow and wind. The snow has started up again in fair earnest. And Crownsguard in fairly fancy-ass armor. So probably fairly high up in the chain of command.
Am I facing them, or will they have? Am I have my back to them?
Now we roll the hand of fate. You're mostly back to them. At which point he calls. Make way for Cedar Grove's new Baroness, Aveline Vanadar.
Really?
And on that note, we're around about break time.
Oh god, Marion's turning like fluorescent red right now.
I will see you all in about 5 minutes when we deal with that situation. And we're back. The Cupcake Coterie are at the Bailey Inn, now called the Beacon, in the middle of dinner, and all of a sudden, door has opened. Kransgard has walked in and announced the appearance of Baroness Avelaine Vanadar. He steps in with a good 6 other men. Well, men in the more general sense, because armored, helmed, everything. And after them comes in, that looks rather a lot like Ava, though the Ava that Darvin knew originally. The hair is not very much not white, and there is no scar, and there is a lot less careworn appearance.
Not even the burn on her face.
If she's disguising herself to look like you, why the hell would she
Good
keep
point.
it?
Good point.
I'm still
Well, the
coughing
house
up a
was raided on
storm.
fire, so
Besides, keep in mind that if she was being your maid and being what
true.
she is,
True.
how do you know that wasn't on scale in the first place? Although you may be about to find out. At which point, Alice is just not overly quietly, but not, not too projection loud either. No, it's not. It's a scheming half-dragon bitch. And she casts Dispel Magic.
I'm still coughing because inhaled food, and now that just got worse because I tried to gasp in reflex after that Alice statement, and it went back in.
While Hazel is trying to keep herself from choking to death, Ava gets her first real look, at her half-sister. Dark hair, very much like her mother's. The face doesn't change that much beyond the half that would have been burned is covered in black scales with a single black horn curving up along her head. Her hands, the fancy dress is the dress that she's wearing, but her hands end in talons. And there is a thinner than usual, it's almost closer to a tiefling's tail than a dragon's tail, but there is a thin tail there. And she freezes and looks over at the table, at which point Alice has cast Disguise Self on herself to look like Ava with brown hair. And with the scar, and she just stands up. And in Ava's voice, and I should know!
Oh, Christ! What?
She steps past Ava, puts her hand on her head, muttering, "Keep your head down."
Remy was about to rise up, and then she hurriedly restrained herself.
That was only for Ava, because she doesn't...
Well, as Ava transformed, as Alice, there's a lot of transforming going on. As Alice turns into Ava, Remy restrains herself from any action.
And it's basically
Darvin's just sitting there grinning, but it's a look of, I'm grinning, but I have no idea what the hell's going on, and holy hell, oh shit.
At which point, it really is just... this woman has no the hell idea how to react. It's just... I learned a few things while I was away, sister. At which point she's just... sees her? And they're looking at her like, but The crowd's guard have no the fuck idea how to react to this. Just for your information, she is not Eveline Vanadar. She is the bastard daughter of your so-called king. And if she's the bastard daughter of your so-called king and she looks like that, any thoughts as to what your king might be? The commander goes very, very still, so he clearly knows. A couple of the others are like, yeah, and I mean, I still work for him. And like 3 of the others are just, this is not what I signed up for! Backing away from this woman. So, you might want to find yourself another inn. The commander just sort of goes, we may have to speak to some people about this, Baroness. So you're not going to Caesar, but she's the rightful heir to House Vanadar. And you said that we probably need to discuss this with His Majesty. I want, but can we just go? This is not over! And gets herded out the door. Goes back to her normal form. And that ends your entertainment for the evening. Have a nice day! Okay, that could have gone really, really badly, but...
That was insane!
Holy.
Well, it took their attention off you.
Yeah, but Joy
It got their attention, all right.
If they come back after us in our sleep,
Doesn't he have that dagger that means they can't?
Yep.
oh yeah,
Yeah, so it turns out I can switch off people's magic.
That is
what
very
are you?
A barbarian, apparently.
Best of us.
Look, we didn't need her in here. And if they were gonna stab anybody, it better be the tougher one who can heal herself and can't promise things like, funding for a Belarus army.
Yeah, that's true.
Just sort of does a double take at Remy, just like, wow.
Yeah, I'm tougher, I can heal me. And let's face it, if they'd actually stuck a sword in me, I'm pretty sure I'd have backup.
Very immediate, even.
Yeah.
though I'm having a little
Ideally,
bit of
we don't
difficulty
start
still
with that.
breathing.
Yeah, I mean, I was immediately running through my options. Although I'm glad we didn't have to, because I like this place.
I get it, but we didn't need them drinking the place dry. Not if their stocks are as low as they say. The
Yeah.
local populace are gonna... I mean, I'm fairly sure that they're going... And she raises her voice a little there. I am fairly sure that if the local patrols know that the townsfolk aren't going to say anything about certain revelations that have happened this particular evening, they probably won't take too much in the way of retribution for what is effectively a wide spot in the road. I want to know what the hell she was doing here.
That
It
did
is
occur
also
to
a
me.
good point.
That raises a very solid question. Yes.
There's not exactly a lot out here, other than the road to the Elven Wild.
Well, there's the road roads here come through a lot of different places. Mount Palor, Cragveer, and probably going up around the edge of Cragveer to Black Crown.
I just had a thought.
Hmm?
What if the heart for the barony is here?
Why would it be here?
Because that tree would make one hell of a hiding spot.
Ava, sorry,
Mm-mm.
they told me you knew where the heart of Goldendale was. Did you know that because the heart of Cedar Grove is in the same place? Yes. To remind you, yes. So you'd be predicating that on the idea that a servant got away without looking for Ava at all and hid the heart.
No, that wasn't what it was predicated on at all. I just had the thought. There was no real predication. That's just the first thing that flew into my head.
It's still a possibility, but I don't know why she'd be doing the legwork.
Exactly.
Far beneath her.
It's possible that she was just visiting Black Crown and decided to stop and make a few townies' lives miserable.
From Ava, from what you've said, that sounds like the type of thing she'd pull.
Would not surprise me.
Yeah.
This place connects to so many other places. It also wouldn't be a bad spot to set up to watch traffic.
No, but would they need a baroness for that?
Yeah, but, I mean,
No, but
No, what he correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're saying is that if somebody happened to notice us on the road and sent a message, we might have been in trouble if I hadn't pulled that anyway.
Mm.
yeah.
Boy, I'm glad
I hate Black Crown right now.
I am so glad I sat on my hands
So much.
during all of that.
Yeah, well, thing is, she now knows that the real Adeline Vanadar exists, but she doesn't know who she is.
She's gonna get paranoid, isn't she? At least I hope she does. So then we'd have her freaking out constantly.
Yeah, except when you have people with that much power freaking out, that tends to go badly for the people.
For everyone else.
Yeah.
Yep.
She'll
There's
yeah, on the nose, yeah.
She'll be keeping an eye on us.
oh yeah.
She can join the club.
Nah.
Yep.
I mean, we can't exactly worry all that much about it. We've got umpteen other people also keeping an eye on it. So,
And
I
that's
mean,
the other thing, because this is a way station to so many roads, she can't put it to the torch. She literally can't. Particularly not in this weather. People die. And she might not care about that, but that means her soldiers too.
yeah, I mean,
her goon squad would have trouble if she set the place on fire.
the advantage of pretending to be nobility is that you have all of this power. The disadvantage to pretending to be nobility is you have all this responsibility.
Yeah, except the people who are pretending in this case, they don't care so much about the responsibility, but they do want to make sure that their fighting forces are fed. Probably to the detriment of everybody else. But
Well,
at the
yeah.
very least, it means that these people have a steady stream of business, and they have a certain amount of protection.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean,
Yeah,
let's
that's
face it.
kind of where I was going.
If the people have to, I mean, the woodsmen out there didn't see anything and can vanish into the woods if they need to, and can probably take anyone they feel is in particular danger with them, but they can't do anything to the people in town, really. Because who are they going to get in their fortified, moderately civilized cities to work here? No offense, none taken, it's cold like a bitch up here. And David's like, yeah, but also, can anyone explain to me what the fuck just happened?
I think we're stuck. Are we stuck explaining now?
No.
That's what I'm asking.
No, we cannot
Not-
explain that.
Good.
Use your eyes, use your ears, draw your own conclusions. I think I said plenty. Yeah, but why were you looking like camouflage? It kind of looks at the rest of you like,
I don't knock it. She does things.
Darwin's just gonna look at his face like, hey.
looks at Frozeth like, and to Remy. And over to Aaron.
Yes.
And then to Rika, who he looks at a little bit longer. And then just that look of what the fuck drops off his face and is just, oh. He has clearly recognized you.
Oh shit.
Ooh.
Does that look like it's a bad thing? Or...
No, well, currently it's just, oh, I get it now. And then just...
And Darwin just looks at him and just...
About what?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing.
I'm just gonna go back to consuming spicy doom now that I actually have a throat to use again.
I'm just gonna go right back to my food.
You just go grab a half empty flagon of and just down the rest of it.
Sorry about that. I didn't think you were ready yet.
I don't think I was either. Again, as usual, you're amazing. Crazy, but amazing.
Yeah, I just lean forward and it's just like, you know, I hadn't planned on liberating Cedar Grove right then, so...
No.
Well, we didn't liberate it, but even if they're supposed to be being quiet, they're not. Something like that is gonna spread.
Yeah.
We've given the Baroness something to think about, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think enough has been jostled that now we can sort of make our way around and through places without being exactly noticed, because we weren't the immediate direct source of the jostling.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't exactly have eyes for us at the time.
Given who they were staring at and freaking out over.
And they're not gonna expect it to be me. Holds up her hair. All you need to do is keep a hood up, Rika, and I think we'll be good. I don't need to worry about it because
They don't know what you actually look like.
That and cold, I don't care.
And lo, we have now become invisible.
No, but no, I don't think we've become invisible. But I think we just haven't got more attention than. And if she'd come in, if she'd seen Rika, we'd be in shit.
The hissy fit would be monumental. There would be things. There would be brawls.
And they might have recognized Darwin.
We really don't need a unscheduled bar fight.
You're never gonna let Remy get that down, are you?
No, I'm not.
I'm sorry, Remy.
It's not like I could have. I would have. The other option would have been to make us late for our appointment with the governor. So.
No, I mean, honestly, at the time, I thought it was brilliant. A bit unorthodox and confusing, sure, but you know, at the time, yeah, you're absolutely right. What else could you have done?
Hey, look, we're unorthodox and confusing. We make a wonderful pair.
Yes, we do.
You know, yeah.
I mean, it works. And you get increasingly adorable every time I look at you.
Eat your food.
Yes, ma'am.
Suffice it to say, I love all you.
Woo woo. I'm going to sort of try and scooch around to Darvin and offer him a spoon of spice and death.
Nope. Nope. I'm not. Nope. Mm-mm.
Okay. So I'm just going to casually go around offering some to everyone who I haven't offered it to yet.
Yeah, I've had mine, thanks. I would not deprive your spicy living heart.
Emmy?
Nope.
I think that's a no all around, Hazel. Put it in your mouth. Thank you.
At least Aaron over here got a sniff of it, and I think that was enough.
Hey, it was good.
Delicious. I just wonder why no one else is able to deal with this. This is amazing.
Excuse me.
No one outside of us is able to, well, deal with it. You know what I'm getting at, like handle the spice.
Hey, I handled a fair bit myself. I got to be in the right frame of mind, and that ain't this.
I'm built for cold, not heat.
Oh, God.
Then what's my excuse? I guess I wasn't originally built for cold. I just kind of became inured to it. Then again, if you were built for cold, and cold places are where the burn lichen grows, let's just put it down to raised by monks and have done.
Sure. Let's go with that.
But actually, here's a thing which I don't reckon anyone necessarily thought to ask, and obviously say no if it's a thing. But if we're having to get up to Black Crown, skirting around the sort of Cragveer border might be a good way to approach it, just on the basis that it's not as well traveled when it comes to that time. When it does, Froseth, do you want to check on your monastery?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, we're obviously not there yet, but it's something to factor into our travel plans.
At which point, you see Darvin kind of pull out a small piece of paper and jot and make a few notes, put it back.
You're muted.
If anybody's looking like they're wondering what that was, he just kind of looks at itinerary.
And
I mean, I'm not knocking it.
no, it's fine. It's just writing things down doesn't necessarily always allow for that much in the way of necessary flexibility.
We
It's
do
just
a
sort
lot
of
of
an
playing by
sort of
ears.
ideal itinerary.
Pat.
Look, I started trying to write more stuff down. Okay.
That's fine. Look, just because I think it's cute doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. We can at least use it as a reminder list.
Yeah, exactly.
We're family, and we will taunt you
I'm trying
for
to take
everything.
a pun. Then, for once, pun not intended. I'm trying to take a page from Clarity
Yeah.
and write more down.
Yeah, but to be fair, Hazel has a point. You taunt her for any number of things, and Hazel taunts Remy for any number of things, and
Right.
we tease each other about all manner of bullshit. So you're used to being on the receiving end from me. Don't be surprised when other people follow my lead.
Okay, fine. Carry on, Hazel.
I already finished.
Or is he just asking for it?
Yeah, but it's no fun when they're asking for it.
Exactly. I mean, given how often the pie gets mentioned back at home.
And I just had a hankering for some blueberries.
See what I mean?
I have basically set myself to group mom for you goobers.
Quite possibly, yes.
In all cases but one. Because that would be weird.
You know?
I am not complaining, I'm just flagging it up because sometimes you just need to say it to make it real because this is not how I expected the world to turn out.
And now it is.
Lord's talk about not expecting things to turn out. Jesus.
Well, you know, to be fair, I didn't expect to be stripping somebody's disguise magic away, putting on some of my own, and then confronting her with basically her worst nightmare. So, hey!
Yeah. And I started out life as a chamber musician.
Yeah, except for those times you kept telling me about where you tried the seedier pubs and got punched numerous times.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, I did eventually learn to duck, but it took a minute.
A few too many times, though.
Actually, Froseth, you could help me with that. Just without the stabs. I remember what happened last time.
Yeah, there may be a reason that some of us are a little reluctant to be sparring. I've heard this story.
I'm still perfectly happy to.
To be fair, at this point, with or without staff, probably isn't going to make much of a difference.
Well, never mind then.
Yes, you has fists of fury.
Fists, feet, tail. Everything of fury.
Including face. I mean, come on, those are just significant teeth, and I bet you could headbutt someone pretty nastily.
And that's without getting into what happens when he opens his mouth.
Man, I will never forget the look of delight on those kids' faces when you did that off the back of the wagon that one time. That was amazing.
Face open, cold vent.
And it's no wonder that Skylar adores you.
You are a small kid magnet.
Well, I'm not the
Sorry.
only one.
Sorry, Froseth. Did not mean to put you on the spot there, but
Oh, come on, he deserves it sometimes. He does need to understand his full worth. And no, he's right. He's not the only one because despite the fact that wasn't it Froseth who got Evan tucked away someplace safe, Evan clung to you.
yeah.
I am apparently older girl magnet. I'm kind of worried that Lissy looks at me as some kind of life example.
Oh no, I'm already. I think I'm seeing a possible future, and I like it. What?
I'm gonna ask you to turn off that mental image right now.
Fine.
Thank you.
Like I said, I love all of you.
Well, we needed a bit of a tension-breaking laugh after that.
Good gods, yes.
Rika, how you doing?
Well, not anything I was expecting, but
Has the immediate panic worn off?
it was an eye-opener.
I don't think your hands are shaking, so that's good.
And I don't know if you caught any kind of look at how the other people in this place looked, but they were kind of terrified.
Hmm. I think this is going to lead to some interesting. But
This is going to lead to interesting things, period.
well, like was said, this place and this location at least should be relatively okay.
Yeah, that's less what I meant by interesting things, but it certainly goes within the category.
Also, keep in mind, those woodcutters are going to be stopping in for breakfast too, probably. And once the woodcutters get hold of it, who's going to
Mhm.
catch them?
Mhm.
Absolutely no one.
And they'll never be able to figure out where the rumors started.
Nope. That's the advantage of rumors.
Mm-hmm.
The bards would know.
Hmm.
Also, keep in mind, entertainment for philosophers, scholars, and poets. Nobody gossips like an intellectual, and that's including the narratively ubiquitous fishwives. Because intellectuals do it with footnotes.
Oh no!
Please don't fall out of your chair again.
No, I won't. I have a mug. I'm not going anywhere.
Except to bed.
That goes without saying. I'm not going anywhere until the mug is done. Because if I go sideways, the mug doesn't get done. The mug ends up going sideways.
Or you let go of the mug.
Which I would also rather not do because I don't want to end up with a crockery debacle again.
But the mug is on the table with your hands around it. If you removed your hands, the table would happily support the mug. That is what tables are for.
That's not how I was imagining it. I was thinking of catapulting. I was thinking of winding up catapulted sideways, the mug with me, and then letting go halfway through.
I gave you credit for too much sense, clearly. Okay.
Clearly.
Because, I wasn't expecting you were going to have your hands wrapped around the mug 100% of the time. It's not like it's keeping your hands warm.
It isn't. Not my. I think we both envisioned two different scenarios and they clashed wrong.
Yeah, and mine makes sense.
So does mine, just not in the same order of operations.
Downs her mug.
Pat.
Fuck it.
Pat.
I'm gonna talk to David about rooms and then I'm going to bed.
Thank you.
Yeah, same.
I'll follow.
Yeah. Food, including breakfast in the morning, and rooms, you are looking at a gold. It's kind of their off season. But you get your requisite rooms, and Hazel, before Alice heads up to bed, is, we'll check the shrine in the morning. We had dawn prayers anyway. Darvin, whatever praying you're going to do, keep quiet about to what?
Of course.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It will be silent prayers.
Thankfully, dawn is fairly late this time of year, so I might even be able to get up, because praying in a consecrated space would probably do all of us some good. All of us
Yeah.
who are
Yeah.
in some way hooked to a deity, anyway.
Yep.
Okay, so that's Alice, Darvin, everybody else just going straight to bed, or?
Pretty much just crashing
I
out.
think so, yep.
Yeah.
He's got butterscotch and snuggling him.
Yeah, butterscotch has apparently been magic coded to sense when Ava needs particular nuzzle. So yes, Hazel is very much treated to these snuggling, the hugging.
That is adorable.
You want to have him for a little bit?
Better idea. I'm gonna shuffle over and add myself to the hug pile.
Oh my god. Why am I not surprised? I just go with it.
I'm probably gonna pass out about halfway through said hug pile, so you have to deal with unconscious Hazel.
Fine.
Hazel has finally found a hug pile substitute for clarity.
Yeah, for the moment.
Well, she's not having Alice. Alice has her hug pile partner. Thank you very much.
I
I don't think Remy would share with Hazel willingly.
No, she would not. Just that look by itself sells it. I mean, just that reaction says it all.
I think even Hazel knows. I mean, Hazel has a high wisdom score. She knows better.
Yep. Much better than just like, yeah, that is the sole. That hug pile is the sole property of Remy and Alice, and no one else is allowed.
Okay, rest happens. Aaron. After trance is finished and everybody else is basically asleep, Her Majesty, voice anyway. My champion. It has been an interesting road for you, hasn't it?
That's one way to put it, yes.
Oh, my husband is terribly, terribly disappointed. He was so proud. My champion broke the heart of an Azamar, he said. A celestial. But that seems to have mended itself fairly well, with minimal input. Not that you've had the time. I am interested in how all of that went, but I suppose these things can't be helped. I thought it might be best at this stage to give a few explanations that you were in no position to ask for at the start of our arrangement. The nature of my husband and myself, at least in part. I am a creature of mischief and whimsy. I enjoy tricks like your celestial friend pulled earlier. The elf on a shelf thing was my sort of situation. My husband is more set over chaos and misrule. Therefore, the situation with the group as a whole was much more his cup of tea. I thought you should be aware of that, because one day you may have to make a choice. Which of us you'll follow, take after? Each of us can promise a great many things, according to our natures. So it will be down to you to decide whether you are more for misrule or mischief, whimsy or pure chaos. I know which I would like you to pick. I know which my husband would like you to pick. I don't know how much input you want your friends to have on this. But the choice, as ever, is yours. And as as you seem to be heading in the general direction of the home of the elves, I will say 2 more things. 1, best of luck, you are going to need it. Secondly, I like the name. And fades and you're alone. Anything from our elven friend?
Nothing out loud.
Yeah, unfortunately, he never did get that word with Alisay, but first thing in the morning is probably not when it happens because it's basically as soon as she's up, it's just the sky is lighting up to pre-dawn, so it's kind of grabbing hold of Hazel and looking at the hug pile and muttering, "Sorry, Ava," grabbing Hazel by the shirt because she wouldn't have changed either, and yoink! Oh no, she's a bit more gentle than that, but Hazel goes yoink. Kind of like, the thing where you have the tablecloth with all the dishes and things on it, and you pull the. So yeah, Hazel just gets grabbed by the collar and so the back hem of the shirt and just yoink. So Hazel is now flying, me, and then set on her feet. Up. Fresh clothes, dawn prayers, breakfast, in that order. And quietly so Ava can go back to sleep.
I'm going to shuffle over to a bag of holding, pop that open, and rifle through that for the.
And rather than the hammering in respect, well, actually no, she thinks about it and goes, wait a minute. First, if you're gonna want to be up for dawn meditation anyway, aren't you?
Yeah.
Hey, you! Pokes Darvin between the ribs. Poke.
Just boom, rolls out of bed, stands up.
Okay. We'll let Ava get a few more snoozes.
Yeah, given the circumstances, she probably needs it.
Yeah, Aaron, if you can sort of stick around, keep an eye, just so that there's somebody else with her, if she wakes up before we get back. I don't figure the shrine would be your scene.
Hmm?
I'm gonna take that as a yeah, and go because
Daylight's wasting.
yeah, let's go before daylight starts, shall we?
Yep.
And first, you've kind of got the outside of the building covered, so that's cool. The shrine for Remy, Hazel, and Darvin it's bigger as a building than the shrine in Goldendale, or at least it's got more space. But it's because it deals with fewer gods. There is Pelor, there's Nerul, and there's Baori. And there's Obad High, who is it's nature's wrath. It's all the dangerous shit that happens in nature as a whole. So it's nature's bounty, nature's wrath, life, and death. And that's about all they cover. There is a single very elderly cleric who Hazel is the one who will mostly recognize as being in the robes of a priest of Baori. So might be cleric, might be druid, you don't know. Looks up. You lot are new? Just came to say a quick prayer. Settles down by the Baori shrine, which, because there's only the few, they're larger, so it's as much a representation of the Dawn Father as you can get. And squinting at the rest of you.
We're just passing through town.
I just nod and find a spot I can just sit and.
Yeah, they're straight up benches. So if you don't
Mhm.
follow any one of those specific gods, you can just pray in your own way. But
Yep, that's all I was gonna do. I just nod and pick a bench and just close my eyes and just pray.
I'm going to briefly, because the symbol's in my shirt, I'm going to briefly pull out the symbol.
squints at it. Ooh, I see. Are you of the clerichood then? Yes. No. Wait. You passed through.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
still have green in your hair.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going away.
I have a wash for that.
It's a bow. I put it there on purpose.
Oh. Sorry, my eyes are not what they used to be.
It's okay.
But yes, we still have our little bits of shrine, and your friends don't wear the symbols of any of these. Well, no, that one on his instrument. I am sorry. Is that a Palor sun or a sunflower? I can't tell.
Closer to a paler sun than a sunflower, but somewhere between the two, yes. Life and light, after all, so I guess it's fitting.
That is fair. Okay. Yes. Well, enjoy. If you require the advice of one who maybe not connected to the gods that you know, but still the gods, I am sorry, our cleric of Palor is away at the moment. He is on pilgrimage.
Ah, yeah, I heard some mention of that.
Which is good. There have been unpleasant people about.
Yeah, there have been.
I was looking out my window last night and there was a woman. I think she was very fancily dressed, but when she came out, half of her was black, and I'm sure she had a tail, and I do not mean to be judgmental. But somebody hiding that face, you have to wonder. I have been
Yeah,
praying for guidance on this.
well, here's hoping that guidance. Here's hoping that guidance comes real soon.
Were you in the inn?
Oh yeah, I got to see that I got to see that face come out right in front of me.
May I ask? Young eyes and young ears, much better than my old.
Ask, sorry.
He's asking what you saw, because his old eyes and ears wouldn't have been able to catch anything really. Particularly not
Well,
from the shrine.
she went from being all fancily dressed and human to fancily dressed and looking like someone had put dragon parts on her before she was born.
Part dragon.
Yeah,
Part chromatic dragon.
solid black the whole way through, any bits that looked kind of scaly.
Huh.
And there was a kerfuffle where one of the other patrons of the inn turned out to look exactly like her, except didn't lose the image when confronted.
Did this fancily dressed lady have a name? We've lost so many of our lords and ladies.
Well, the lady said she was, and I'm going to Ava's full name.
Avelaine Vanadar.
Avelaine Vanadar. The real one.
So the real lady of House Vanadar still lives.
Uh-huh. And the one currently sitting on that throne is some sort of dragon person.
I've heard that there sometimes when a dragon in human form mates with a human, the result can be a half dragon. More to prey upon. Thank you very much, young lady. You are a credit to your god.
Thank you.
I have strawberries if you want them. They are the last of the season. They are winter sweet.
For once, a not hypersonic but still happy squeak.
You pray, I will get those for you.
Thank you.
And yeah, Remy's probably heard all of that. Hazel did good.
Remy just, she takes a seat as well. Chills out, prays.
And once prayer is done, there's a little basket of very small, very red strawberries. The kind of thing that probably only a druid could really manage.
A repeat of the aforementioned happy squeak.
Berries bounty follow you and yours through your days.
So any unlimited thanks. You walk in the sun and are therefore awesome.
And ushers you guys out, and you come back in. I'm assuming just about everybody's up and back in the tap room by now. Breakfast is the usual. You're back to Baronsveer Inn fare, which is porridge, sausages, milk.
I'm going to motor over to the table, produce the basket of the berries, and it's right in the middle.
I assume I know the. Are they typical to the region, or are they?
Well, strawberries grow just about everywhere, but it's a little late in the season.
Where did those come from?
Behold the glories of a shrine.
Priest of Baori.
Oh.
Hazel did good. I don't just mean to get the strawberries. They got asked about the kerfuffle last night.
Oh.
It didn't say too much, didn't say too little. She did good.
And therefore berries. Enjoy, everybody.
I think she should get the lion's share. She's earned them.
I'm gonna settle in, get food, get berries.
Does anyone have anything they want to discuss over breakfast?
Hazel, you did great. I did overhear a little of that, but you handled it beautifully, and I was trying to pray too. So, but yeah, you did great.
Froseth, Aaron, Rika, any particular supply preferences? We're gonna need to waffle around, get some stuff before we head on.
Mostly it's just basic food that will keep. I don't imagine
too much.
I don't imagine a place like this is gonna do potions or anything weapon related.
Just food, water, that type of thing.
Well, I don't think we need to worry about water.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry.
Looks out the window where another, 6 inches of snow have fallen. You forgot?
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about some of the supplies we already had.
Well, I mean, yeah, we have the endless water, but we also have, we melt it.
Yeah, right.
Orla's bounty is to be respected. It's one of the few bounties she actually offers. Let's take advantage.
Welcome to the backwoods, city boy.
Oh no, come on, to be fair, in his case it's more that he's coastal. Don't get a lot of snow on the coast.
Exactly.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I'm
It's
just
more-
used to it because water was one thing we couldn't carry because it froze.
And thus became, like, well, I'm very familiar with certain ponds back home and it disagreeing with me.
Yeah, no, that's actually not what I'm talking about because ponds only freeze down to a certain depth. If you have a water skin, we helped somebody on the run to Demille once, and he was dumb enough to bring water. And he
Uh-oh.
brought a water skin. Did you know that ice gets bigger when it freezes?
It went bang, didn't it?
Yes.
Oh,
So let's not get water. How's that sound?
That sounds
Good
perfect.
plan.
So yeah, just I guess somebody asks David where the best place to get supplies is in this town, and be on our way before somebody decides to do something stupid.
Yep.
So who's asking? Doesn't have to be me, you know.
Aaron, go find out where supplies are. I'm still up to my eyeballs in berries here.
It wasn't that big a basket. So is our elven friend going to go and speak to the innkeep?
Yeah.
Go on.
David sort of looks up from cleaning the various mugs that were from dinner. Can I help you?
Yeah, my friends and I are moving on, and we need to stock up on supplies.
Okay, well, there's a dry goods store across from the across the tree court, and a few stalls from there. But for a lot of it, you're probably just gonna want Deirdre's. It's the one directly across between the butcher stall and the veg stall.
Between the butcher stall and the veg stall. Got it, thank you. Out of character, what's the condition of the cart?
You don't know. You haven't looked.
Okay.
So yeah, he comes back to the table.
So, for most of it, we want to go to the place between the butcher stall and the veg stall. Deirdre's, I think he said.
Gotcha.
Where did we end up with the cart? Did we ever get it fixed?
Fixed?
Fixed.
why didn't
Well, it was the horse that got damaged, not the cart.
Yeah,
Well,
the cart was fun.
you know what I mean. Back in operation, able to
Oh,
work.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
How do you
Okay.
think to go here?
Thank you.
That is how we got here.
I mean, it took a little longer than it should have because of the snow. The roads weren't as clear in before we got over the border to Cedar Grove. In fact, it was like somebody cut a line. It was really weird. But no, we wouldn't have got there anywhere near as fast. Not all of us, anyway. I think between us, I probably would have been the Fursa than I probably would have been the fastest over this terrain. Ava fairly close behind us. Probably Aaron after that, and then probably Darvin, and then Ree and Hazel. Various degrees of bogged down by metal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got to take Ree flying though when I joined in on your snowball fight. That's the reason I had the wings out. I thought it was cruel and unusual punishment to make her slog back through the snow on top of everything else.
Yeah, and
It
then,
would've
and then
been a
we
long
got
slog
bombarded by
because-
snow.
Yeah, it was a death from above, I think.
Yeah, and I am very proud of that.
That
It's a
was
good
wonderful.
Well, I did have time to aim. If you'd actually seen it coming, I'd never have hit you. Nobody else was. There you go. Look, witness a dragonborn smiling.
Delightful and pointy, and we love it.
It's rare, so it's great to see when it happens.
Okay.
Right.
Let's get moving.
Yeah. Who? I mean, I don't think all of us need to go in for supplies.
Some of us should maybe go by the final cart.
Yeah. And if
Uh,
I'm remembering correctly, we parked sort of around the back.
me plus Froseth, I guess, for supplies, and Aaron just to guide.
Well, you guys are the ones with the bag of holding.
Yeah.
Yep, so-
Honestly, I kind of want to talk to the woodcutters, or
All right.
or at least see how they live, because people traveling around through snow is a thing that interests me.
Mhm.
Ree, please come with me. Sometimes with groups like that, it gets unfortunate.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so Aaron, Rika will head over to the cart.
I need
Make sure
the
that's okay.
Froseth and I need Aaron to go find stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. So then,
Well,
Rika,
didn't
you
he
and
say it was just across?
Yeah.
I mean, he obviously
He-
can go along if he wants. I'm just saying that he gave pretty good directions, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you listened, boops are on the nose.
between the butcher and the veg.
Yeah.
Between the meat and the veg.
Come on, Froseth! Grab, yoink. Stump, 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 stump.
Alice heads off up to the northern end, where there is a moderately sized group of rather boisterous sounding gentlemen. The smell of beer is very strong around that camp. It may not be so much that they are immune to hangovers, it might just be that they are still drunk. It's just Alice is kind of standing back a little and looking at this, and one of them is just going, "Oh, the inn said they didn't deliver food or drink, but they deliver the. Don't you start!
Oh boy.
I told you. Look, I was just looking at your house wagons. And one of the smaller ones actually perks up at this. Is just going, nobody ever talks about the mechanical wonder that is these things. Come look! And starts showing and it's not too different to your setup. They've got sledge runners that they can attach, and they seem to have teamed goats rather than horses. So you get the strength, and you also get the ability to pull through some pretty unfortunate terrain. And these are big honkin' goats. This is a really woolly mountain goaty kind of things, and it's just
Halfway to yaks?
kinda. They're a bit more scruffy, but they're kind of like the twilight zone between goats and sheep.
That is a lot of fuzz. That is a lot of fuzz.
And the guy who apparently mans these things is going, we shear them we shear them in the summer so that we sell the fuzz on really to knit into clothing for the winter. And it's pretty clear from the tone of his voice that no, actually, he just cards the wool and knits them himself, but everybody thinks he's womanly for that.
It's quite the operation you have going on here.
Oh, we need to fend for ourselves most of the time. I mean, we come into town when we need more supplies and have ourselves a bit of a carouse, but I understand we missed some excitement last night.
Well, not as exciting as it could have been.
You have apparently led a very exciting life. Most excitement we get is the occasional displacer beast.
That is pretty exciting in itself.
Yeah, no, I was looking at going, no, not for you, it isn't, I can tell.
Yeah.
I think you've probably seen some things that put our poor displacer beast to shame.
Maybe one or two things.
Come on, we've got. I am Bard. I have to tell them something. At which point
Fair enough.
she goes very, very detailed into Remy's slaying of the ocean hag.
Remy looks around elsewhere.
They're all sort of staring between the pretty singing bard woman and you. Just the mental images rampaging through these men's brains. You just don't want to know. Although Alice does sort of finish off with something very much to the effect of, if she does this to things like that, what do you think that she would do to those providing unwelcome advances? And if she doesn't hurt you, I will.
Remy smiles at Alice.
It's very, very much along the lines of Vex's. Married to me, and I will cut you. Meanwhile, the Froseth and Hazel apparently are going in. Deirdre's is a pretty well appointed general goods store. The kind of place that you would have in a town that really is a way station for people to refuel. So you've got, some fresh bits, but a lot of travel-ready food, dried sausages, a lot of dried fruit kind of stuff, clearly for keeping on long
Praise the
distance travel.
sun for camping kit.
Deirdre is a very tall, very thin, very old woman. She's clearly been running this place for a long time. Human woman, and just, well, we have that many pass by, we tend to learn what sells and what doesn't. Now, how can we help you?
We're going to be headed up through towards the Elven Wilds, so we're going to be stocking up on stuff to head that way.
Okay, that gives me a general idea of how many in your party?
About 8.
All right then, and she goes through like dietary preferences, and if anybody has anything that they can't eat or prefer eating, and eventually come out with a fairly significant stock of everything you need to keep going, with a bit of an extra suggestion to Froseth of in this cold sort of weather, meat keeps for a while. And if you wanted something a bit more fresh to sink your teeth into, you might want to go and see my son outside. Unless, of course, you have someone who hunts, at which point you probably don't need it, but I just thought I'd bring it up.
Okay.
But yeah, you're looking at another week's worth of travel, and that will cost you. Think about this for a minute. Yeah, you're coming up on a gold.
Okay.
But yeah, you've packed your bags of holding pretty.
Pretty solidly.
Yeah, I mean, you've still got room
Various-
in them. You still got room in them, but it's Yeah, a lot of porridge, trail biscuit, dried jerkies and dried sausages and dried fruit and stuff.
Feed for the horses,
Yeah.
etc.
Based on that suggestion, I think we need to go fetch the meats.
Okay.
Come on, Froseth.
For another couple of silver, you can get some fairly decent cuts of fresh meat. That for Froseth it would just be, sear the outside, spice if required, and here have fun.
Yeah.
Here, have fun with your face full of razor blades.
Well, you gotta figure that it's like the kid said, you don't have teeth like a herbivore. Is there anything else anybody wants to do / look for in town?
You just check the horse, check the cart's in good condition.
Yeah, the horse and cart are fine. There were less in an actual stable, but more under a sort of a roof overhang in the back. But there was food, water.
I'm just sort of keeping an eye on Rika to just with everything that happened, just in case. Just not really saying anything about it, just sort of like just being there just in case.
You could probably glean that she's trying not to think about it much.
Exactly. That's why I'm not making a big deal out of it. It's just, I've known you a while, so, I can kind of figure.
Yeah, on their way out of the woodsman's a bit, one of the gentlemen
Ha!
decides to slap Remy's ass. And mostly
Oh,
gets
boy.
clank. Ow!
Remy whirls about,
Yeah,
goes
I'll
right
say
for the
it's
jaw.
sort of- oh god, roll me an attack roll.
Oh no! Some kid's about to get clocked.
Rightfully so, for God's sake.
Okay, I what do I roll for unarmed?
That would be plus strength.
Yeah.
D
So just
D20
flat
plus
strength?
strength.
Yeah, he has no class levels. Roll damage.
What's unarmed?
Unarmed damage, I believe, is just 1 plus your strength, isn't it?
So that would. What is your strength?
16.
No, the
The modifier
modifier.
3, I think. It's from the
so
indicator
yeah,
there.
that's for somebody with 0 class levels, and 4 is gonna put him on the floor with a broken jaw. I did warn you. And with that, Alice just walks away because he's on the floor. Everybody else is staring. She's just, I did warn you, and walks away.
Remy just looks back and forth.
And everybody is just sort of going, holy shit.
Remy smiles, walks after Alice. Remy she loops her arm around Alice as she catches up.
And Alice just, when the arm loops around, just starts laughing. Okay, that was fucking brilliant. And when they regroup, it's just Alice is still laughing. You should have seen this, guys. Some absolute fucking moron tried to slap her on the ass. He got a handful of metal and then a jaw full of re. It was great. She laid him the fuck out.
Nice.
Rightfully so.
Meanwhile, Froseth and I, we got supplies, and we got the meats! And I'm producing just a chunk of it from somewhere.
Okay. The
Apparently-
meats.
Yeah, the meats.
All of
Froseth, what did he say it was?
Cow.
cow.
Okay, Hazel is clearly yeah. Okay, pat, pat, pat. Come on, let's go.
That's about it.
It gets put away.
Yeah. Yes. Put away your meats, Hazel. We have places to be.
Yeah, and
Oh God, I think you broke Antheus.
just clamber on in and
Look, you're the one who pulled out the meats, okay?
I've had a certain commercial stuck in my brain for literally months now.
I don't watch TV. I'm fine. I'm good.
I don't want
Okay.
to know.
Moving
Yeah, we're good.
swiftly on.
That's
Yes.
Mostly because we have come to about that time. We will leave the Cupcake Coterie headed back on the road to the Elven Wild, fully supplied with moderately clear roads and, well, one very freaked out half dragon.
God-forsaken crazy
I
people.
will see you all in 2 weeks' time, when hopefully by then you will actually reach the Elven Wild. And then
Dun, dun, dun.
get yourself into all manner of other kinds of trouble I don't even know. Anyway, I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Have fun. Good night.